I'm Joe Muccio.
And I'm Michele Seligman, and welcome to this last edition of Eye on New Paltz for the 89-90 school year.
On this show, we'll feature a look at the UNISON Learning Center.
We'll take a tour through the Rivendell wineries.
And we'll also take a look at the solar house on campus.
And we'll take a look back at this past year of Eye on New Paltz.
We have these stories and much more on this edition of Eye on New Paltz.
On May 10th, 1990, Tour de Chum came to SUNY New Paltz, and Eye on New Paltz was there.
Many people are trying to find new ways to harness the power of the sun. Not many people know this, but here at SUNY New Paltz, we have our own solar house. Here's Josh with the story.
The sun is vital for our survival. We utilize it for many purposes. One of these purposes is solar energy. Many people don't know that on campus there's a house that was designed with solar energy in mind. Have you ever heard of the solar house?
The solar house? No.
Have you ever heard of the solar house?
The what?
The solar house?
Solar house? No, what is it?
A solar house is a it's a rather large facility, wood frame structure, built out behind campus on campus-owned property. It was built in the latter part of the... It was actually planned, designed, and constructed to the degree that its construction is completed now during the latter part of the 1970s. It was part of an energy research project. As you may recall, the latter part of the 70s were a point in time where this nation was very, very much concerned about energy. With all of the existing solar technology at the time, all of that is incorporated into the design of the house, the insulation, the way the windows are set, the direction that they face, And there's a gray water system that's not complete yet, which is a recycling system for the showers and sinks and et cetera in the house. Right now, there are a number of people who are really operating under the leadership of Allison Moore, who's a student that is the chairperson of SolarWorks Association.
Allison Moore now explains what work still needs to be done on the house.
The greenhouse is the first part of the house that has to be activated in order for the house to operate as a living environment harmonized with nature. We have a lot of work to do here, as you can see. The beds need to be relined so that they don't leak in order for the house, for the plants to be synchronized with the growing season. It's good for wintertime to have a greenhouse because you can grow your own fresh vegetables. What we'd like to do is provide some maybe foot-deep planters for the platforms that are in front of the windows so that we could expand the greenhouse into the upper levels here. My idea is to turn the house into a bioshelter, which simply means a structure that houses a lot of plants. I'd like to tile to prevent the water from decomposing the wood, and we'd just like to grow a lot more plants. The stairs that are designed for originally don't really meet code specifications very well, and we have to redesign the stairs. So far, we've weather sealed the entire exterior, and it took us a while to sheetrock. And now we're trying to focus on the greenhouse, and it's very disorganized in here right now, but in a year's time you should see a big difference.
Nearby is a workshop, which was actually built prior to the house. It was here that construction of the solar house first began. It may seem as if the solar house and the workshop are miles away. In fact, they are located within walking distance, right behind the Bevier parking lot. The solar house has been here for many years, but lack of funding has stopped construction. What will become of this house? Only time will tell.
Creating a fine wine takes a lot of skill and patience. Chuck recently went on a tour of a local winery.
When you think of wine, think of New York State. And when you think of the finest wine in New York State, it's Rivendell Winery, right here in New Paltz. We'll now go on a tour of the winemaking process.
We're standing here on what we call the crush deck here at Rivendell Winery in New Paltz, New York, just outside of the town of New Paltz. My name is Bob Ransom, and I'm one of the owners of the winery. My family has owned it for the last 6 years. And behind me here, we see about 15 acres of vineyards that we have on this property. We have several other vineyards in different locations, however. These are not the only grapes that we use at the winery here. But these are some terrific vineyards that were planted in the mid-'70s, and they're really producing some very good grapes for us. On this crush deck here is where we do most of the processing of the wines, starting by putting the grapes into this press here. It's this press that allows us to extract the juice and flow it into one of the tanks for fermentation. And why don't we go downstairs and I'll show you a couple of the different areas that we have in the winery and where we make the wines. Okay, here we are in the tank room. This is the room that we use for most of the fermentations of our wines. you'll notice that it's filled up with stainless steel barrels. And that noise you might hear in the background is our refrigeration system. All these tanks are on the refrigeration system. And it's that system that allows us to do what we call cold fermentation. Cold fermentation is really essential when you're producing fruitier wines and lighter bodied wines, because it helps us retain a lot of the natural fruit flavors.
Mr. Ransom now explains to us the finer points of the aging process.
Well, here we are in our long-term aging cellar, we call it. You'll notice that it's got a lot of the silvery insulation. This room has been designated, has been separated from the rest of the facility so that we can control the temperature in here. When wines are aging for long periods of time, we'll often change the temperature of the room depending on what sort of stage the wines are in their development. Sometimes it wants to be warmer, sometimes it wants to be cooler. So we set this particular room apart. Most of the wines that are aging in here are from the 1988 vintage red wines, and these probably won't be released for another 6 months to 2 years, depending on the wine that's in here. And we have, as you can see, quite a few different types of barrels in the room. We use a lot of American oak barrels. We use quite a few French oak barrels as well. It's the different types of oak that help us create different flavors in the wines. For instance, French oak barrels will give the wine a much softer, much richer, mellower type of complexity, whereas the American oak barrels have much harsher tannins and tend to age the wines quicker and are used for stronger flavored wines. If there is an art part, and there certainly is to winemaking, this is the room that it's done in. A good winemaker has a good knowledge of the types of barrels and the flavors of the barrels that he has in stock and that he's using, and he can artistically and creatively blend these barrels back together to create different styles of wines. We won't necessarily just blend all the wines, all the barrels back together to create one particular wine, but we'll go through each barrel individually and test them time and time again until we find the right combination of barrels that work right together. It's painstaking, it's time-consuming, but it's really the best way to go if you are dedicated and serious about your winemaking, which we certainly are here at Rivendell.
Bob Ransom and his family take great pride in their winemaking, and for their efforts they have won numerous awards and have become one of the finest wineries in the Northeast.
Have you ever wanted to broaden your horizons or experience something new and unusual, like walk on fire, for instance? Well, here's Matt to tell you where to go.
Hi, I'm Matthew Block at the UNISON Arts and Learning Center. Today, April 21st, they're having their open house, so why don't we go inside and take a look?
The UNISON Arts and Learning Center is located at 68 Mountain Rest Road in New Paltz. Writer Ione began the open house by reciting some of her poetry.
Poppy. When Poppy was dying, his mind slipped, my first ex-husband wrote. He was calling for you. He thought you were still here. I hear Poppy bellowing my name through the old chateau, where to his everlasting amusement he had placed a toilet in the tower. He chuckled every time he thought of it. Carole, come look. His foot smashed a fat slug by the gravel path as I cringed away. Carole, come listen. Every night, he told me, the sound of the nightingale grew fainter. Carole. Once I asked him, in hopes of carrying out his wishes, what he wanted for the chateau when he was gone. Oh, Carole, he grunted. Je m'en fous. What do I care? I won't be here.
Photographer Will Fowler discussed some of his very interesting artwork.
This kind of work should be done by a woman. I think a woman probably has a better sense of it than a man could possibly have. But nevertheless, it's my my quest and my curiosity that led me to it.
International folk singer Sonia Malkine performed several songs at the open house. Andy Satter gave a lecture on whole brain problem solving.
And basically what it's about is learning how our brains work and then learning how to tap into the potential power of our brains. The workshop will be based upon research that's been done in the past 25 years about just how our brain works. And we're learning a lot more. We've learned more about how the brain works in the past 10 years than we did in the entire history of the human race. So the information about the brain is growing rather quickly. This is a metaphor for the human brain. And if you look on, for you, which would be the left side, you've got blue and green here, that represents the left half of the brain. And we know from research the left side of the brain is more analytical, it's more logical, it's more fact-based, it's more structured, it's concerned with things like safekeeping. And if you look on the right side of the circle, you see yellow and red. That represents the right brain. And the right brain, it tends to be more intuitive, more imaginative, more artistic. It's interested in questions like why and possibilities, and it's risk-taking. So you can see the dichotomy. One side is safekeeping, the other side is risk-taking.
Okay, what is the Unison Center all about?
Unison Learning Center is a multi-arts learning and performance center. I just said Unison Learning Center. Actually, our new name is Unison Arts and Learning Center. We've changed the name because we feel that we're serving the programming needs of the community very strongly in the arts, and we don't want there to be confusion. So from now on, all of our promotional material is going to go out saying Unison Arts and Learning Center, and I have to get used to saying that, so I'm doing that.
What is the open house all about?
Our open house is a yearly time when we allow when we open our facility to the public so that they can come in and see what Unison is, what our facility is like, what our programming is like. It's a taster of our programs. We have some music, we have some poetry, we have an artist speak. It's a real chance to for the public to see who we are at no charge.
Thank you for watching this edition of Eye on New Paltz at the Unison Arts and Learning Center. I'm Matthew Block.
You know, we sure had a lot of fun bringing Eye on New Paltz to you this past year.
We shot a lot of stories both on campus and off. And our operations manager, Josh Parker, put together a little clip of this past year's Eye on New Paltz.
Let's take a look.
The place is New Paltz, and the attraction is mountain climbing.
It's become evident that as the times have changed, so has college Greek life.
Hi, is this Jimbo's Pizza? Yeah, I'd like to order a small pie.
A home for students. They live here. They eat here. They work here.
Rugby is a gentleman's game which came from over from England.
What would you rather be doing?
I'd rather be ripped by the gears in a combine.
7 bands. 3,000 watts of power.
Theater Department's recent production of Romance Language.
So a lot of people just don't know about Ultimate.
Just have confidence in myself and all the brothers that we're going to do very well on the show.
It stands for the New York Public Interest Research Group.
I don't think it'll solve all our problems, but it's certainly a step in the right direction.
Fitness is important in today's society.
New Paltz is facing a problem. The problem is waste.
Here is the rhythm of the campus, where you can hear the newest music and the latest news.
Here at SUNY New Paltz, we have a professor who is one of the world's foremost leading experts on the peregrine falcon.
WNPC Channel 6 has grown, but there's still work to be done.
So we have an exciting, fast-paced sport. That sport is New Paltz Club Lacrosse.
Students feel that more precautions should be taken.
There are many differences between living on and off campus. The experience of both can be rich and rewarding.
Many people may not know it, but New Paltz isn't just a college town.
Well, this is the last Eye on New Paltz for the 89-90 school year.
The staff of Eye on New Paltz all hope that you've enjoyed our show.
And we wish the graduating seniors the best of luck in the future.
Have a great summer. See you next fall.
On Eye on New Paltz.
TV Channel 6.
Eye on New Paltz. Campus goodbyes, take one.
And we're using the old camera.
We're using the old camera. On behalf of the brothers of Zeta Beta Tau, I'd like to say, wait till next year.
Adam?
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye to my Scudder Hall staff who put up with everything. Goodbye. Goodbye to Chris. Goodbye. Goodbye to New Paltz. Goodbye to the radio station. Goodbye. Goodbye to you watching me right now.
My goodbye, Karen Rodman, take one. So I guess this is goodbye, huh? Pretty beat. Bye.
I can't do it.
Do it. Come on.
No. No.
All right, then just say goodbye.
I can't. It's okay.
Goodbye, take one. Okay, this is Rico Pena at SUNY New Paltz. Ladies and gentlemen, today is spring weekend, yeah. Too bad it's raining. It's not going to be a very nice weekend, apparently, but we'll keep it indoors. Tell you what, in the sub, tonight. What are we having tonight, Angelica? Salsa Merengue Workshop. And tomorrow we got the dance. Don't forget about it, 9 o'clock. Be there or be square. You'll see it from me. Come on. Good night.